Welcome to Ponchatoula Live, the show where we make it easy for you to connect with the people of Ponchatoula. I'm your host, Parker Layrisson, and today I've got a fantastic guest. This is my neighbor, my work neighbor. His business is right across the street from mine, and he's one of the nicest guys I've met in recent years. He loves what he does, and what he does is help people make positive changes in their lives to get in shape and feel better and be healthier and do better. And with no further ado, I bring to you Terry Veillon. Terry, welcome to the show.
Hey, Parker, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for crossing the street and coming over here. I know you're busy this time of day. I always see your folks working their butts off at 5 o'clock. So I appreciate you making time to share with us here. Why don't we kick things off with you just telling our viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself?
Hey, everybody. So I'm Terry Veillon. I'm originally from Lafayette, Louisiana. A few things about me. I served 8 years in the Marine Corps as a diesel mechanic, and I got out in 2015, and now we have a beautiful family with Brittany and our 3 kids. And we've been owning the gym, my business partner and I, since last September, and it's been a great ride, man. We help people change their lives, and we get to see people building friendships and our community, and not just in the gym, but we do things outside of the gym as well to live life to the fullest, man.
That's really exciting, man. I tell you, I get an up-close personal view of your friends at the gym when I bring my kids. I walk them across the street from my law office over to the gymnastics place where my 2 little boys do ninja class. And I'll tell you,
Cool.
I never see people in more pain with bigger smiles on their face. I mean, it's like they're happy while they're killing it, and it's beautiful to see. So I know that you instill a passion in them. And we're going to circle back to your gym, the business, and all the great things you're doing later in the interview. But first, because you are from out of town and you may not be as well known as some of our people here that have been here with us, forever, why don't you tell us about what life was like growing up in Lafayette and what your childhood was like and kind of where you're from and what you remember fondly from those days?
Yeah, man, Lafayette has grown a lot since I've moved away from there. It used to be just a little country town. I went to high school at Acadiana High, and I mean, I didn't really do much when I was in high school. I didn't really start exploring life until after I joined the Marine Corps. So I go back to visit my family every now and then, and it blows my mind how much it's changed. There's so many businesses and so much concrete now.
Yeah, my wife's best friend lives over there, and so we spend a lot of time traveling to their kids', birthday parties and such and other events. And I'm blown away each time I go at how much bigger it is. My younger brother married a girl from Lafayette years ago. And heck, it was easy to get in and out of town whenever you go over there for a party back then. But now there are traffic jams and even the outlying areas, what is it, Youngsville or whatever? That used to be like the deep country. And now there's like these $1 million houses and big subdivisions. Yeah. It's really wild. So, one difference between there and here, I mean, they're both similar in that they're a lot bigger today than they were then. Lafayette, much bigger than here, but fast growth is a commonality. But one thing that's different is that's Cajun country, and this is not. So what have you learned as you've kind of transitioned from rice country of crawfish, et cetera, to this more of a melting pot, that you live in now?
So I guess to answer your question, the best, one of the main differences that I've learned about Ponchatoula is that it actually does remind me of when I was living in Lafayette, where it was, small town and fast growing at a rapid pace. And it's nice to have such history here and to be able to meet people and then travel through Ponchatoula and then be like, oh, wow, so-and-so, and then just see how interconnected it is. It really does bring me back to Lafayette.
Well, and you're in a particularly historical location with your business because you're in the old post office. So all of us of a certain age, if it's a gray beard like me, that was the post office of our childhood. And that's where we bought our first stamp and mailed our first, letter to Santa Claus and all that. So I can tell you, having been here in this office for not that many years, but a while, we always reference it to the post office, right? It's not I'm across the street from Dr. Benson. I'm across from the old post office.
Yeah, I do hear that a lot.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. You mentioned that you have a wife, and was it 3 children? Is that right? What are the ages of your kids? And if you don't mind, share a little bit about that journey.
Yes, our kids are 10, 8, and our youngest is 4 years old. So I have 2 stepdaughters with Brittany. So they're 10 and 8. I met them when they were 2 and 4. So
neat.
they were my first little kids.
Yeah.
And then together we share Logan, who's 4, and he's our only boy, and he is a rascal, man.
Oh, I bet. My little boys are just a little older than Logan. And yeah, you've got some fun years ahead. That 4-year-old boy could be a Tasmanian devil. So hopefully his big sisters are keeping him in line. You kind of alluded to the fact that you didn't really, get out there to view the world and live life, so to speak, until you moved away from Lafayette. And you shared that you did that through the military and joining the Marine Corps. So if you don't mind, share that journey with us, because I think folks would love to kind of learn what it's like to leave a sleepy little Louisiana town, join the Marine Corps, and then, of course, we know it sends you all over the world. So I'd love to hear about your travels and what you did when you were serving our country.
Sure, I'd love to share. So I joined the Marine Corps at the ripe old age of 17.
Wow.
Yeah, 17 years old, man. Funny story, I turned 18 in boot camp. I turned 19 in Africa. I turned 20 in Iraq, and then 21 and 22 on some active duty orders in California. So I wasn't, I didn't have a birthday at home until I was 23 years old.
Wow. Well, I didn't even know it was legal to join at 17 these days. You'll appreciate this as a fellow Marine. One of the legends of Ponchatoula, Hammond area, just recently passed away. His name was Bill Monteleon, and he was best known as a sheriff's detective and lieutenant who worked with my father for many years, and he was the pilot of the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office in the 1980s. His son Britt and I are very close friends. And in his, at approximately 90 years old, he passed away recently. But one story I always loved about Mr. Bill, and he's known here in Ponchatoula because he owned Monty's Furniture. So like you, he was a Marine turned business owner. But he joined the Marines. He snuck in at 15. He had an older brother. This was, say, the time of the Korean conflict. And I don't know how he doctored up his papers, but so there's a little tradition there. Ponchatoula businessmen joining the Marine Corps at an early age. So I can't wait to see my pal Britt and tell him that his father's tradition is carrying on. I just spoke at his funeral a few weeks ago and got to learn so many more great stories about him. But that's neat. So you were sent all over, and from what I gleaned from that, conflict zones, it sounds like, stateside some. What was it like seeing the world at such a young age, 17 and up?
Makes you appreciate the freedoms that we have in America. I'll tell you that much.
I bet.
When I went to Africa, it showed me that we don't all have great roads and great cars and food whenever we want. And being in conflict in Iraq, it just showed me that there's a much uglier side to having a free country. And so when I got back home, I had my own mental health journey once I fully got out of the military. But being able to travel and see the world gave me a whole new outlook and perspective for the blessings that I do have here.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. And I especially appreciate your candor with mental health journey. So I'm married to a mental health professional. My wife is now a school counselor, but as a clinical social worker, she's done therapy, of many sorts. And I've always had kind of a soft spot in my heart for veterans that come back that are dealing with that, because my first boss out of law school was a member of the Black Horse Cavalry in Vietnam, and he was injured there. And, till the day he died in his 70s, he carried a shrapnel around and all that. But he loved asking me about Hammond, because although he grew up in Baton Rouge and lived there once he returned home, he did his therapy at the VA in Hammond. So he would always be coming in, for his treatment. And I think that, that's something that's overlooked is, we put you guys, we as a country, put you soldiers and Marines and sailors and such in such intense circumstances. And forever, I just know this from my old boss Beach, it wasn't talked about at all. And it wasn't really shared that you had these issues. And it seems like we're doing a little better now. We surely have a long way to go. But thanks for sharing that, because I can't imagine what you've been through. And I'm sure you didn't have all the services you needed, at least, as early as you should. And I hope we're doing better. So thank you for all that. And I'm not alone in thanking you for our service. So another one of our neighbors here on this little business strip, Wesley Daniels, who owns Branch Real Estate right up the road, says thank you for your service as well. So Wesley, thank you for tuning in and for sharing that comment. And for anybody else who's watching live, I want to use that as an opportunity to say that, as you can see, we have the ability to share comments in real time, excuse me. So if you have a question for Terry, or if you just want to say something nice as Wesley's done, please join us. We're here with Terry Veillon. We're learning about his childhood in Lafayette and his, marriage and kiddos and military service. And I promise you, we will get into his gym eventually. But, we're talking about the Marines and all the things you learned. What about other lessons you learned, as they relate to discipline, as they relate to character? What are things that the Marine Corps instilled in you that serve you to this day?
One of the sayings in the Marine Corps is adapt and overcome. And I can truly say that through my life's journey, that has been one of my guiding lights, second to my faith. And when times get tough, the discipline and the willingness to achieve something more in life, when life is just going to, throw curveballs, knock you down, disappoint you, take things from you, like that's just part of life. And being able to adapt and overcome has helped me to achieve new levels. And there was a time, especially when I got back from Iraq, I didn't see a future. Like I hinted to my mental health journey, I didn't see anything past maybe a couple days. And through specific mentors and people who have helped guide me to be where I am today, I have a family and a business owner and get to see people change their lives. And it's really just the discipline and the willingness to just keep going.
And I would bet, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never been down there in that hole. I didn't go through that. But I would bet it's one step at a time. I mean, it's kind of like the old saying to eat the elephant one bite at a time, right? I mean, if you mentioned only being able to see days, I think it was, right? Is it something that it's just you focus on the task in front of you at this moment, and eventually your vision, your sight extends, but you have to work toward that by what's right in front of you? Is that correct? Or
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, now the difference is that over time, your discipline becomes stronger, and the things that used to seem like little problems the things that used to seem like huge problems, as your discipline is developed, those big problems start to look smaller. And then, like you said, you get to take bigger bites of that elephant.
Yeah, well, that's cool. So you mentioned mentors, guiding lights in your life, people who helped you move forward. And we can talk about the ones you're specifically referencing in that part of your life, or any others, back to high school coaches, teachers, et cetera. But if you wouldn't mind, share with us some of the people that have helped you along the way. Feel free to name them by name if you want to, or just more generally say there was a coach, there was a drill sergeant, there was a whatever. But who have been people that have helped you get to where you are today?
So I guess number one, my biggest mentor is always going to be my faith in God and my relationship with Jesus. He's the one that's always there for me, and I can always read his word and find just some new truth to guide me to the next level. But actual people in my life would be the organization that really brought me into this health and performance field many years ago. And that would be the founder, Matt Hesse, of the Veterans Future Foundation, Coach Hunter Schurer, who is a phenomenal strength and conditioning specialist that's training veterans to do what I do and become personal trainers. And then Johnny Martin, who's their aftercare, and he helps with mental health development. And he's the one that really tied the whole organization together with fitness, human performance, and then the whole health aspect. And then just recently, I got back from Arkansas for another certification in health coaching. And the people that impacted me and I have a great relationship now with is Kelly Howard and Mark Droysica.
That sounds tough to pronounce his name. Well, that's really neat that you're able to have all those people guide you, because it sounds like some of them may have shared parts of your journey. You're coming from a similar veteran military community, and it's a really inspiring story to hear from where you came to where you are, and that's super exciting. So let's talk about that next chapter. I think you mentioned you served 8 years in the Marine Corps. Is that right? And you get out and you have mental health issues to deal with, which you did. What came next? What was the next chapter?
So, I mean, it was a wild ride, and I don't think we're going to fit it into this little podcast.
No, we can hit the high points, and you can skip. You don't have to make this chronological. I'm very soon going to ask you about your business and the things you just alluded to. Yeah. But just to make our transition a little more natural, what was in between then and here that you want to talk about?
So I guess the high points and the low points would be my mental health journey took a turn in 2013 when I gave my life to Christ. 2015, I got married to my first wife, and she decided it wasn't right for her, and then she moved on in 2016. I believe that God had called me to New Orleans to seminary. So at the end of 2016, it was a very fast transition. I did a year in seminary, and then that's when the FitOps, the Veterans Future Foundation, came into my life, and then started actively building a personal training business after years of doing it. I actually made it a career choice, and then we had Brittany and I had our son in 2019, and that's when I moved. That's when I made Covington my home, and then the North Shore, and then 2021 is when I started to transition to the Ponchatoula area with the gym, and then we bought the gym in 2022.
So how did you discover Ponchatoula? It sounds like you were living in Covington, having come up from New Orleans. Did you just take a ride down 22 one day and see the sleepy little strawberry town, or did you have friends here? What brought you to town?
Yeah, so God works in mysterious ways, man. We started attending the Mission Church over in Hammond. And so every Sunday and sometimes during the week for get-togethers, we would come out to Hammond. And then one of the people that went to the church mentioned that they were looking for coaches, and found out about the gym right across from you. And I never looked back, man. I fell in love with Ponchatoula. I love the Strawberry Festival. I mean, it's a great community.
Well, it was a blessing for your family, but it's a blessing for us too, in that we got to add you to the community. One neat thing I love about Ponchatoula is you have families like mine that have been here, in our case, 1890s and some much longer, but we're constantly adding great new people like you that bring to the mix things that we don't have. So my background and yours very different, but can be very complementary for this town. So that's really cool. So let's talk about the gym. You just mentioned when you bought it, how you got here, the training, the preparation, the mentorship. Tell us about what you do, how you change people's lives for the better.
So our gym is a CrossFit gym. And it's been around long enough. Most people have already some idea of what CrossFit is. And what makes our gym unique, man, is I have learned from really, really smart people. I myself, what got me into this, when I was getting ready to go to Iraq in 2009, I was much smaller, didn't know how to use my body. and I had a traumatic back injury that really changed my life for the better part of 7 years. I couldn't touch my toes. I actually had trouble breathing. And
Wow.
at the young age of 19, doctors told me that I would need back surgery before I was 30. Now I'm 34 and I'm the strongest I've ever been.
That's
I have
amazing.
competed in Spartan races and actually won in my age group. And unfortunately, a car wreck earlier in the year set me back for a little bit.
Right.
However, what I have learned through my journey is that the body is meant to heal. I just understand that I have to change the way that my body moves and how I train. And at times it's frustrating. However, I keep reminding myself that my God's a healer. And what we do in our gym is we teach people how to move. We slow them down. We bring them back to the fundamentals, and we take them on a journey of understanding that fitness is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be some grueling thing where you're dreading going to the gym. It is a life journey, little by little. And we teach them how to get stronger, that it's a long-term journey. And we teach the importance of different movement patterns that our body is supposed to do. And over time, people see that their nutrition is improving and they feel better. They're sleeping better. Those aches and pains that they've lived with for years that they thought would never go away, they can move and they can reach new things. And I can play with my grandkids. And I went snowboarding with my family, and I didn't have to go back to the room because I was completely wiped out. I was snowboarding all day long, and we had an even better experience. And that's the types of lives that are being changed in our gym.
Well, that's amazing. And it tickled me when you mentioned about kind of everybody's heard about CrossFit. And I want to circle back to that because I think probably people have some, misapprehensions about CrossFit or whatnot. But I think back to, 25-ish years ago when I started law school. Law school, often you form little study groups. And I was blessed to fall in with two brilliant guys. And the smartest guy in our study group was a kid named Casey, who after we graduated LSU, so after 4 years of college and 3 years of law school, he went to Georgetown to get extra training in tax law and, spending all this money and time. But what he does now is he does a CrossFit gym in Idaho. So, you can go to the Ignition gym and work with him at Boulder Mountain Strength and Conditioning. So it's kind of funny to see people from all walks of life. Some guys like you that may look the part that come from military, as well as, pudgy lawyers or whatnot. But tell us, if you will, about CrossFit, because, like you say, everybody's kind of heard about it, but I don't know that people have heard about it directly from the source, from people that run a CrossFit gym and really know about the philosophy. So what distinguishes it from, say, Anytime Fitness or North Cypress Gym where I go? I know there's CrossFit in there some, but what's distinct about CrossFit as a brand?
So first and foremost, the thing that makes CrossFit different is we're one of the few sects of fitness and health where almost any gym that you go to in CrossFit is going to have a devoted, passionate, knowledgeable coach, and they are going to encourage you and guide you and instruct you and make sure that you're doing things safely, but also making sure that you're having fun, that you're making new friends, that you're building that support system. And unfortunately, as with anything in life, CrossFit has gotten a bad rep because people say CrossFit hurts people. And what I want to clarify today is that CrossFit helps people. It builds families and communities, and it makes people realize that life is super enjoyable when you're taking care of your physical and mental health. What hurts people in CrossFit are coaches who have an ego, are prideful, are trying to push people a little too hard, too fast, too soon with too much, and then they get injured. And those, unfortunately, are the stories that make it out more than the stories of the people in my gym that are running around. And I mean, I can go on and on and on about the amazing things that we see in our gym. But what makes CrossFit unique is that everyone squats, hinges, pushes, pulls, runs, walks, locomotes, braces. The only difference is that you get guided, experienced, knowledgeable, encouraging coaches that can make sure that you get to a better place.
So it's not like a gym where you sign up and they point to you and they say the snack bar is over there, the machines are over there.
Pizza on every Tuesday.
They don't even tell you to get a spotter if you need one. Just, get to it. You guys are actually active coaching, demonstrating form. And I think you said earlier, teaching how to move.
Yes.
Starting with the fundamentals so that people don't get hurt. And it sounds like, in your case, it's really helped health-wise a lot, and it does for other people. Clearly, you love what you do. I can see the passion in your face. You light up when you talk about your job. Similar, not the same, but similar, like you light up when you were talking about your kids when we were off air. What is it you love about your job? What gets you fired up to go into the gym every day and help people?
It comes from my traumatic back injury. I mean, truly, first and foremost. And my journey started with a miraculous prayer and someone laying their hands on me. And what I realized as I reflect upon it, that moment, is that it first starts in our mind. We have to believe that we can achieve, we can change, we can be pain-free, we can grow, we can enjoy life. And what I love the most about what I do is really seeing those people who want to make changes. I want to lose weight. I want my knees to stop hurting. I want to go on vacation with my grandkids and not be so tired that I have to go back to the room. Just little things. And over time, as they partner with us and we walk with them, we encourage them, we guide them, we get to see those little wins turn into big wins. And we get to share in that with them, give them high fives, learn about their family, and really just love them to the best that we can. That's what wakes me up every single day.
That's so exciting. And it's apparent in your face, the sincerity behind what you said. We've shared here, you can see on the screen, we've shared the link to your gym's Facebook page. So if anybody here is watching and interested in talking to you about joining the gym, asking more questions that I neglected to ask, etc., feel free to go to the comments here, click, you'll get there lickety split. But if you don't mind, why don't you also tell us, Terry, about how people can get started on that journey? Because it occurs to me, for example, the holidays are coming, which means January 1st is coming. I know every year at my gym, I see a lot of new faces.
Oh yeah.
Some come and go. Some like me that don't go enough start going up more again. But tell us what that journey would be like if someone were to contact you through the Facebook, page, call you, whatever. What could they expect? Once they kind of get onboarding. What's it like?
Yeah, so we offer every single person who is interested, whether they've heard of CrossFit or never heard of CrossFit before. We offer everyone 3 free days. Come try us out, because we believe that it takes 3 separate classes with maybe different coaches, with maybe different people, for you to realize just how amazing it is. So we'll give you 3 free first classes. After that, if you're interested, we have multiple package options that fits your schedule, your budget. We offer military first responder discounts. We offer group discounts. We have lots of ways for you to bring your membership costs down. That way you can get the most out of your time with us. Outside of the CrossFit memberships, we offer health coaching as well, which is basically just a conversation between you and your coach that helps you figure out what is important to you, why is it important, what do you want to make changes, even if you don't want to make changes. Sometimes it's just really nice for someone to help you feel seen and heard through your journey. And if you're interested in that, we have options for that as well. But the first step is just reach out, make the call, send the text, and come stop on by.
And you can see from this interview with Terry that you're going to be talking to a friendly face. This is not somebody, although he's got 8 years of hardcore Marine Corps background, he's not going to just drill sergeant you and hit you upside the head with it. He's going to greet you with a smile and join you on that journey. as any great coach would do. Terry, for someone like you who clearly loves what you do, what do you do for fun? I mean, it's clearly you're having fun at work, right? But what do you do for fun when you're not working, when you're not at the gym?
So I'm old, like Brittany says, I'm really old school, man. I love my family. For fun, I like to, cut the grass, maybe paint a wall in the house. I love my honey-do list. She keeps me very busy. I love doing vacations with the kids, spending time with them, and just really being a present father. That's what I like to do for my personal time. Other than that, it's really just self-help, self-development, trying to reach that next level.
Yeah. Well, I can relate to part of that. I've got these family photos behind me, right next to the family photo, and the one of my wife there you can't see, or pictures of my little boys when they were babies. And I love the family stuff. Every Saturday night for us is family movie night. And, we watched E.T. a few weeks ago, and it was cool because that movie's as old as I am almost. And, it's funny to watch my young kids pick apart the old stuff that we thought was great. I've been begging them to watch Goonies. They won't do that. Now, the honey-do list, I'm having a little more trouble getting on board with that. But it's really neat to hear that you love to do that stuff so much, because it sounds similar to my experience. And I reference these photos of these babies you can't see off screen to state that they don't stay babies long. They don't stay little boys and girls long. I got a late start as a father, and I had the benefit of watching 3 brothers have kids. And now I'm looking at nieces and nephews who are serving Ponchatoula as police officers, or teaching school, or working in construction. I mean, you name it. So that's neat that you're putting that time in for your kids. To that end, I promised you I'd get you out of here in time to get to the grocery store. And you've got a honey-do list when you leave here that begins at the grocery. And we both need to get back, to helping our wives bathe and feed and do all that they do. But before you go, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you if there's anything else on your mind, on your heart, anything at all you want to share about topics we've covered, like your gym, to anything else. If you wouldn't mind, share that with our viewers and our listeners now.
I guess what I would leave with any of y'all that watch this video is when you take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, moving the body, moving the mind, having things in your life that move your spirit to a place of joy and peace and hope, it's such a much better life experience. So if you haven't started moving yourself towards fitness or health goals, I encourage any of y'all that watch this video, and I'll make a promo code right now, Ponchatoula Live. If y'all come to Ponchatoula Live, we will give y'all a special rate just for tuning into this video. And we want to help you embrace a new change starting 2024, or even if you want to start tomorrow, today, New Year's, whenever it is. We want to help you reach your fullest potential and enjoy life to the fullest. So call us and start a new journey today.
I love your approach of, we could start today. We could start in January. It reminds me, when you walk back across the street from my law office to your gym, you're going to pass a little, I say little, it's probably 20 feet tall, but by Ponchatoula oak tree standards, you're going to pass a little oak tree. And I love the old saying about the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. And I would imagine fitness is really similar, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If you look more like me than Terry, it's not too late. Start today. But I reference that little tree because, my mom planted that tree 15, 20 years before I bought this building.
Wow.
This is as a local service initiative through the Rotary, club. And they planted trees all over town. And when you look at Ponchatoula and all these beautiful oak trees, if somebody hadn't thought to do it, they wouldn't be here. So, it kind of relates there. So great message. I love this interview, Terry. You're such an engaging guy, a dynamic figure. I can see why all of your folks across the street love you. To our viewers who have stuck with us to the end, thank you for watching. Ponchatoula Live will be back next week. And to Terry, and especially to your wife and 3 children, thank you for sharing your time with us. We greatly appreciate it. Y'all take care.